Surprise. How are you guys? Good. It's good to hear. Anyway, I don't have a haircut, so you're going to see me with a hat on. I got to get my haircut in the morning. Tonight's video is titled, I Don't Want You No More.
Mm-hmm.
And what the purpose of these videos are is to, help people like marriage enough to get married.
Right.
And to stay married. We want you not just to get married, because we always say anybody can get married, but to get married and to stay married now, you're doing something.
That's the struggle.
Right. But you got to get people to like you. You got to get people to like you. And so if you don't like yourself, it's going to be hard to get other folks to like you.
Right.
So when I say I don't want you no more, I'm talking about you talking to you. Being fed up with the person that you are and that you have become, and slowly but surely metamorphosizing yourself into somebody that you wouldn't mind hanging with.
Right.
I've dealt with this for a long time. Never really had low self-esteem in my life. I lost a good job once, and I was like, oh, and I kind of felt it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially because I was a young man, and at the time I wasn't married, and I know that girls like finance.
He was over there flossing, trying to live the life.
I know that girls like finance, so I'm like, dang, like I'm out. I had built my hopes on something that wasn't eternal.
Right.
And so, as a result of me building my hopes on something that wasn't eternal, I lost some confidence in that. But during that transition period, which was a very important time in my life.
That's when I came along.
Right. And I started to realize if I don't build my hopes on things that are more long-lasting, like family, like love, like God, like, that unconditional love, then it's going to be the countdown to when I purchase a car and get in a car wreck, and then all of a sudden, I'm going to lose confidence again. So I said that
that's extreme
for this because, last year I was, my daughter was born November the 10th, same day as my baby's birthdays. I was over 300 pounds, up over 300. And so it by nature, it's going to give you like a lower swag than you would have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though I kept my confidence and swag, but it's going to give you a lower swag by nature. Like if you're a big person by nature, just by being the surroundings.
He had confidence because he already has a wife too. Like if he was single and bigger, that might be a whole.
It would have been tearing me up.
Yeah. He'd be like, I gotta get in this gym. He probably, because when I met him, he was not big at all. He was actually working out. He was boxing. Right. So it's so funny. Kind of getting a little off topic, but it's so funny how when you get married, you just like, blah, you know what I mean? You just, blah, let it all out. But when you single, you be on top of yourself. You be in the gym. You would never just let it out like that. You don't just do that. So, yeah. So,
because you never know what you're gonna run into, really.
Yeah, because I'm always on an interview.
Right.
It's always competition. You know what I mean? So, but I don't think you should do that.
You said I'm always on an interview, babe?
Yeah.
For real.
I think that you should, keep those things still in mind when you get married. You shouldn't just, you don't want to do that when you get married because that would make a person not want you anymore. You know what I mean? So you want to maintain yourself. This is men and women,
Even if you're married to a sweet person like my wife is, you still want to make sure you maintain yourself. And so when I say I don't want you anymore, David is talking about being fed up with who you are, can see yourself becoming, and say, no, I don't want that. I don't want you anymore. And start to metamorphosize yourself and caterpillar, cocoon yourself until you can turn yourself into something that you could be interested in hanging with.
That's true.
A lot of times people are getting out of relationships, going into new relationships, and they haven't given themselves the opportunity to metamorphosize themselves into something that, everybody or even they would like.
Right.
There are exceptions to everything we say. There are some people who, when they were in a relationship, it wasn't their fault. They didn't get out of a relationship because it was them. It was the other person. You feel me? I still say you need some time to heal, but you might not need
still
as much time to heal as a person who just out here laying it low and spreading it. Why?
I think they do because it wasn't a mutual agreement. They didn't expect it. I think sometimes that's worse because you wasn't prepared for that, and you still wanted your relationship. So sometimes that's, at least for females, it's harder for you to deal with. It's like, and so because you're still in love with the other person, but that person don't want you, and then you have to eventually start into another relationship that you really don't want to do. You don't want to do that because you want to be with the person you love. So I think that it's actually harder. And so yes, you definitely want to take some time out, get yourself together, get over that other person first before you get
or you're going to lose yourself.
And
you can come to the conclusion, I don't want to be with you no more. And it's not like the original you is cool with you, but who life and life experiences have brought you to, you don't want that person no more. And now you all fogged up in your brain and you don't know who you are. You hanging with and people you would never hang with. You listen to stuff you would never listen to because you lost you.
That's true.
You got to get back to yourself.
That's true.
You got to get to the point where you say, you know what, I don't want you no more. And the you is the you who you don't know anymore. That confused you. That confused you where you don't know. I don't know what I should. That's not cool. That's not you. That's not. You got to get back to yourself.
Right.
And it is what it is. So people always ask me, how can single people find a mate? Here it is. The answer is find yourself. Find yourself, and then once you find the real you, and you know the real you, because they be like, I'm finally back. Like, thank you for taking the time out of, praying and fasting, whatever you had to do, reading or hanging around some people who know themselves. They might seem awkward at first, you know what I mean? But if they know themselves, you want to be around them people.
And that's even better because you don't want to be this pretend person. And you get in a relationship, and then when you get in a relationship, they be like,
in it all.
Who's this? Who is this that I woke up to? You know what I mean? So just keep it real. If they don't like you, then they don't like you. Next person, they're not for you. So just you want someone that's going to love who you are. Like,
you start to see those striations,
Really?
Sorry, man. Sorry.
So, like, with my husband, I could be myself. Like, I don't have to always look sexy. I mean, you should look sexy. But I could come because I'm really like a tomboyish kind of girl. So I could come with some baggy sweats on.
With your dude not shaved.
No.
I said that loud. I'm sorry. This is the type of stuff you do. Legs all unshaved.
Anyways.
Come on.
If I happen to be having a bad week, let's just put it that way.
Or a month, or 2 months, or 6 months.
Let's just put it that way. My husband still loves me. He don't judge me because I could be myself around him. Like my physical self as well as my
emotional self?
Yeah, emotional self. So I don't feel like I have to put on. Like, I was reading some comments and people were like, I do not fart around my husband, or I don't get undressed around my husband.
This is a countdown. You can be riding somebody else's pole, though. It's the countdown to where you're going to be riding somebody else's pole.
Now, I know some people have, different relationships. Every relationship isn't the same.
No.
So I understand, but when it gets to the point where you can't be yourself.
It's going to be the countdown to when you is putting your donut in somebody else's coffee. It's going to be the countdown to where, you is riding somebody else's pole. But in order to be yourself, you have to know yourself.
And I know, I don't do that all the time. Because I realize after a while, he will be like, I want a woman to come to bed. So
legit.
I try to, be a little sexy every now and then.
I'm an all-man.
I try to be a little sexy every now and then. And, come to bed with a little lingerie on. Little different things to spice it up. However, I don't have to put that on every day for him to love me.
She know Victoria's Secret.
Right.
And then also I don't put like that. That's undue pressure. You feel me? I'm not going to put undue pressure on you because I feel like, come on. You feel me? Even though I'm a sexaholic, I can have sex 4 times a day. I don't put that pressure on you. I'll just go somewhere and watch a PAWG and get it out. I'm just saying, not, not certain times of the year, but I don't feel like arguing. I don't feel like dealing with this, because sometimes when a woman don't want to, It's horrible. Like, I don't feel like dealing with that. I'm about to go get this coconut oil, and I'm about to, you know what I mean? Lather it up. Like, I swear, I've masturbated 100 times more now that I'm married than I ever did when I was single. You know what I mean? When I was single, I never masturbated. Now I'm married, I feel like, oh my God, my hand is going to have muscles in the back and the front. Like, oh,
well,
man.
you know, I never took out the trash so much or bring in the groceries so much since I've been married. So, you know, it goes both ways, you know.
It do.
You get used to each other. What can I say?
It do, legit. So,
right.
I mean, we're just so happy to be in married with each other.
Right.
Like you said, we know ourselves so well, we can be ourselves in front of you.
Right.
And the way we can do that is because I know myself. I know who I am. I know that, you know, that I'm an ignorant person sometimes. I know that I'm rude. Sometimes. And I'm glad that you accept it. Because I've been around people that be wanting to get away from you. Like, no, like, you too ignorant for me.
Right.
Like,
you got to love your spouse. You got to love the good things and the bad things. Right. You got to love them. You know what I mean? Because you're not perfect either. You got some bad flaws. I know I got some bad flaws and things that I do. Right. That's not cute. And he still accepts my flaws.
I don't think it's something major that you do. There's nothing major that you do. There's no way that you like chew or there's nothing major you do. Even your flatulence isn't like boom. But it be the small things. You feel me? Like when I put something somewhere, you know what I mean? She hangs her purse on the back of the closet door, right? Most people this wouldn't be a big deal, but I feel like you keep moving my stuff, so I'm gonna keep moving this. Move your own stuff.
The petty stuff.
If you move your stuff, you won't have to worry about my stuff. Worry about you, like. But anywho, the purpose of these videos is to help people, you know, like marriage enough to get married.
Yes. And
or stay married. We want you not to just get married because anybody can do that.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that's rather foolish unless you have some sort of.
And that's why when we come on here, we keep it real. Not to the point where keeping it real goes wrong, but we keep it real enough so you can know, like, marriage is not a fairy tale. It's not just a fairy tale. Right. It's hard work, and it's good and bad things that go along with it. Because what happens is you either get one extreme or the other extreme. You either get like the real what they call it, stuffer marriage, where it's like this perfect marriage, which it isn't a perfect marriage.
Right.
And people, when they get married, they expect their marriage to be like that, but it's what it is. People aren't showing you the bad things, or not the bad things, or just the things, the normal things that go on in marriage.
It don't be real. Like,
right.
But listen, when I first got married, it was to the point where I thought that I was not going to be attracted to other females. It was to the point where when we was in counseling, I didn't even ask the question because I felt like, oh, once I get married, then that's over.
Magic is going to come down.
Family, that is so far from the truth.
Right.
Like, I be craving other women, like, to the point where now I have to start taking precautions. Like, I can't go somewhere without my headphones on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I just can't. Like, and then I got to kind of watch the stuff I listen to because I feel like certain things guide you in certain ways. That's why my man says you have to stand guard at the door of your mind because, you know, once something in, it has to play out. Like, I know you feel like, oh, that's stupid. That's why we talk. And it doesn't matter who's listening. We talk to you because I realize if I'm in, you're going to have to think about me. You feel me? It's just the truth. If you let me in, you're going to have to think about me. You're going to have to carry me in your day.
Right.
Because you let me in your mind. And hopefully, you know, I'm sensitive enough to understand that and be like, you know what? This is the best way. You can do whatever you want to do. That cat ain't telling you what to do, but I'm telling you, if you married, women and men can't be friends. You know, I'm going to say it every episode.
Right.
And if you think that and you married, I'm challenging that. I'm your subconscious. I'm in your mind.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have a little story to tell.
There you go. Like Biggie. There you go.
So.
I kick flows for you. Kick down doors for you. Go ahead, boo.
So, speaking of this, you said men and women cannot be friends.
It's impossible. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. It's impossible.
All my stories are true stories, okay?
Go ahead.
I'm going to not say any names, though. So, you have a young lady, beautiful young lady, gorgeous. Yes.
Okay.
She's been married to her husband for about 18 years.
Okay. Dang. Is she still beautiful?
Still beautiful.
She's still young? You got the alfalfa right there. You get the alfalfa. Go ahead, boo. Go ahead, boo.
So, anyways, she decided to meet up with a guy. and they hanging out. And it gets back to her husband, and her husband is pissed.
Well, that's a natural reaction.
What are you doing hanging out with this guy?
Women and men can't be friends.
She like, well,
it's impossible.
She like, we just hanging out. Nothing happened.
What are
you
talking about? Who are you trying to convince? Me or yourself?
Right.
Because I already know it's impossible.
So she holding down her story. He's like, I told you that that's something that was unacceptable. That, I didn't like that. She feel like, what's the problem?
So I'm going to have a baby by your mama now because you breaking all the rules.
Well, I'm going to get there. She's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just chilling. You know what I mean? Like, I have, associates. She's at a point in her life where she's, making some coin. She's making some coin. And she has some associates with her. You know what I mean? And she's like, that's all they are.
And they happen to be dudes, huh?
So, next thing you know, he cheated on her.
Oh, he cheated first.
Yeah.
That's like a little pow.
Yeah. He felt like in his heart, even though he didn't have any proof,
women and men
she cheated.
Cannot be friends. It is impossible.
Now he had no proof. He just felt like you cheated. You cheated on me.
Because let me tell you something.
In his mind.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. If he has a marriage mentality and he has been keeping himself from friends, like female friends, because that's the marriage mentality. That's the successful marriage mentality. Right. You feel me? Now, if you saying, I got friends, this cat don't know what he talking about. I got friends. I would challenge that. Offer your male friend some pussy and see if he ain't going to tear that in half.
And in the last video.
He going to tear it up.
In the last video.
It's impossible.
My husband calls me extremist. Is that a word?
But
yeah. So
Ron's more extreme than me, but
listen,
I'm extreme.
That's why I'm extreme. Because let's say someone saw me with a guy and we just having lunch. Nothing was going on, just having lunch. Right. And he got back to him and he felt like, nah, you cheated on me.
Now the reason I say extreme is because Sharon says that there can't be a coincidence. If I'm at Starbucks in the morning, if I'm at Starbucks in the morning and I'll get me some black coffee, which is what I love, with an extra shot of espresso, and I might get a ham sandwich, right? A babe that I know is in Starbucks and we didn't ride together. She just happens to come sit down next to me and say, how are you doing? I'm not extreme. That's okay.
But that could have been that story.
But if this is our fourth time this week, nah, Sway. Because it's going to be the countdown to when you're going to take them drawers off.
I say no time. Because you don't know. That young lady.
She more extreme than me.
Listen, that young lady could have just met up with him there. But when it got back to him, it didn't get back to him like, oh, they just met up. And you know what I mean? It got back to, I just saw your girl down there with so-and-so. That's how it got back to. And that doesn't sit well. See, he's saying that now. But let me be with a dude drinking some coffee.
That's not true. That's what I'm saying. I'm not true. Now, if it was the fifth time this week, then I have a problem. You feel me?
Who does that?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you clearly, this is more than a friend, and you trying to convince yourself, or you're lying to me, and that's okay because I'm about to start, laying it low and spreading it wide.
That's how he felt.
Because he felt like women and men can't be friends. That's the marriage mentality. That is like if you got a spouse that feel like they can have a friend of the opposite sex. Share my video with them. Let them know, like Dave said, that's impossible. Because it's impossible.
Right.
It's not improbable. No. See, winning the lottery when you play it is improbable. Men and women being legitimate friends. I ain't talking about girls and boys or girls and men or boys and women. Men and women being friends.
Right.
Impossible. I've never had a female friend in my life. I was always trying to get in. And she just was taking a while to let me get in. Like, men and women being friends is impossible. Don't confuse my words. I'm saying the right thing. It's not improbable. Winning the lottery is improbable.
And that's the same thing for females, because I know I didn't have a male friend around me unless I was interested in them.
Yeah.
And if I was like hanging out with with a guy, it was like in groups. Like if they were my friend, it was like in groups. I wasn't hanging out with them by myself.
Right.
Like that's just awkward. Like if I like you, that's why I'm hanging out with you by yourself. You know what I mean? So it goes both ways. Like,
and I ain't trying to give you my player card. Like sometimes when I got married, I gave my player card up. the great thing about me is I had a lot of secrets. Like, you know what I mean? I'm banging this babe completely out. You wouldn't even suspect it. Like, that's how I was taught. That's how I would, you know what I mean? Like, oh no, we talked about like nudies. What we call those, sexting? Sexting. We had a sexting video.
Yeah, sexting.
How to sex? Like, you don't never share that information because then you will never. But then once I got married to her, all my secrets were out. Like, oh no, I banged her. Sorry, I'm sorry. Like, but this was before I knew you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when I was single, my mindset was different.
And that's another thing. While we're speaking of, I don't want you anymore. That's another thing. Get everybody you slept with on the table before marriage. Don't wait till after marriage and be like, oh,
gotta give me a choice. We got a video about that.
I forgot about him.
We got a video about that.
I forgot it's like 5 more people. I forgot to put in the count.
Babe, why babes be doing that? They be like, oh, I don't want you to think I'm a hoe. Well, if I'm first of all, type of dude I am, my dudes gonna come tell me like, oh, Dave, oh man, like you sure? Like, I'll be like, what you mean? Like, man, you sure? Like,
yeah, put it on the table. My theory is, if they don't like who you are, please move on. They're actually doing you a favor because you don't want that. That's not going to be an authentic marriage.
It's the same thing as a job interview. I might want a job so bad, right? But I'm going to go in here being my professional self.
Right.
If my professional self is not good enough for this job, this is going to be the most stressful 8 hours, 10 hours.
I learned that the hard way.
No.
I learned that the hard way.
No, if I apply for a department and they deny me because of my skin color, let me tell you something. You didn't want to be there anyway. No, that's not where you wanted to be. You feel me?
Right.
Because if they denied you for your skin color, they don't
want you here.
They just did you a favor.
Right.
Because they don't want you here. You don't want to be nowhere where you don't want to be.
I know that's
including
right.
in your own skin. Tonight's episode is about, I don't want you anymore, and what it really signifies is that, you have to love yourself enough and like yourself enough so that somebody else can love and like you.
Right.
And so what I say is, you have to reason with yourself and say, you know what, I don't want you anymore. And the you is the you that you are before you metamorphosize. Mm-hmm. So I don't want you anymore is signifying to yourself that I want to change. I want to, slowly, come out of this or go into a cocoon. Some people need to go into a cocoon, and then some people need to come out of the cocoon. But wherever stage you're in, go through it.
Right.
Because it's really not about the destination. It's about the journey. I've lost 100 pounds this year. And yes, I'm happy I got that off. I can breathe better. I can move better. I can everything. But I wouldn't take it back. But I'm also, when I reflect on, how difficult it was or how much I needed to do it, those are happy memories. Like, the fact that I would get up and my discipline has now become a lot stronger than my willpower. Like, those things I can reflect on and say, what, it is about, where I currently am, but it's also about what I did to get here.
Right.
And that's how it is, in your relationships. You know what I mean? Take your time, especially with your relationship with yourself, which is called Interpersonal Intelligence, which is one of the 9 intelligences. So if you really want to be considered intelligence, all we focus on is, whether you can speak the language, how good is your math skills. People know about music. They don't know about existential intelligence a lot. And the existential intelligence is, how somebody can answer, who is God or what is love? Those are people who are able to articulate that well, like my man Bishop Wagner. He has great existential intelligence, but interpersonal intelligence is a great intelligence. You have spatial intelligence to know where you are in space. Chess players have that well. You will see mice have that well. LeBron James has that well. That's why they don't step out of bounds when they shoot threes a lot, because they have the spatial intelligence. Correct. So interpersonal intelligence is an intelligence in knowing who you are, knowing who you can hang around, knowing what kind of music you can listen to, knowing what kind of spouse is best for you.
That type of intelligence makes great leaders. Yeah. Great leaders.
Yeah. But what happens is we get so bogged down with life and life's, happenings, and they happen to everybody. I told somebody the other day, from my man Jim Rohn, poverty is not a special gift or, I should say, reserved for poor people.
Right.
Happenings happen to everybody. It's not what happens necessarily, and some things are earth-shattering. But it's also what you do.
Right.
One person could lose a family member that was close to them and shut down. Mm-hmm. And the other person could have can take that as a mortality motivation and say, you know what? From here on out, I'm going to live my life like this can happen to me.
Right.
and change.
Right.
So it's not what happens. The same thing happened to both people,
just
but it's what you do.
Right.
It's what you do. If you choose to, sulk and throw a pity party and hand out invitations. Some people hand out invitations to their pity party.
And it's a window that you have to mourn.
Right.
But after that window is over, you have to pick yourself back
and
up.
then let it motivate you and say, for this person, I'm going to, absolutely, show them that, their spirit isn't dead.
Right.
I'm going to show
live
them.
In me.
Yeah.
That actually is a great motivational.
It's called mortality motivation.
Right.
It can happen every day, all the time. It happens to everybody.
Because you don't forget about that person.
And that's the part you got control over.
Right. You don't forget about that person. So, but you also don't want to die with the person.
No.
So what you do is you carry the person with you in spirit. You know what I mean? Carry that person and let that spirit motivate you to be a better person.
Period. This is exactly what I do with my man Bishop. You know what I mean? He said one of the problems with Elisha was that he left the mantle. He didn't pass it on to the next generation. So he left the mantle in the grave. And I am certain that he did not do that. Right. He get whosoever will. If you was under him, he will give it to you. And so now we are able to take it and move it forward so that people can be blessed by it. Because a lot of what I say is really him. You know what I mean? It's him. It's his swag. It's his demeanor. It's his words. Sometimes when I say watch, that's him. You know what I mean? Some of the principles that I can, build on a foundation, that's him. You know what I mean? But I might not be saying, I may be paraphrasing it, but
because you're still you.
This is him.
You're still you.
Yeah.
But you could have a mentor or someone.
He loved that too. He loved when you was you.
Right.
But he could see God's seed in you.
Right.
And then he could see, his color on you. Just like people used to always say, I can tell what church you go to. When you walk in the room, be like, you go to Calvary, don't you? Yeah, it's just the way you act.
Calvary swag.
It ain't a bad thing. Just the way you act. I can tell you go to Calvary. And I wear that as a badge of honor. It was cool with me. If you ain't like it, then
it's a good thing. In fact, when we first met, my dad's a pastor as well, so I knew about the Bishop Wagner, and I understood when he said I went to Calvary. See, that word alone.
It was like I went to Harvard.
Right.
It's like saying, I went to MIT.
For marriage. I knew
I went to MIT.
I knew that this guy was a decent guy. I know he's not about to come in here messing me over. You know what I mean?
I went to Brown University.
Yeah, it's
like saying okay. A cat might not even know you got all D's. You know what I mean? Luckily, that's not what happened to me. I got the principles of forgiveness. And I realized, I think the biggest thing for me was when he used to say, sometimes you're gonna really want to leave your spouse, legitimately. Love is gonna leave. Right. He said, go sit down somewhere, and those things really helped me. It stuck with me. I mean, I wake up some days this is the worst breath of all time. And sometimes it be mine, and sometimes it don't. But
definitely yours.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm gonna go sit down because I can hear his voice ringing in my head. You know what I mean? And I honor him, and I love him, and I didn't LOVED him. I LOVE him currently. Your spirit doesn't die. If you have any semblance of his message, especially when it comes down to the trichotomy of man.
Right.
The spirit is what doesn't die. Ain't no way his soul went nowhere but to glory. You hear me? So he's not gone. The body's gone, but nothing else is gone. And I try to carry that on. But tonight's message or episode, because I'm not a preacher, I'm not a theologian, and I think by now that's apparent. You know what I mean? I do. I think because my mentor was one, then he he scraped so much of me, but David is not that guy. I'm not. Y'all went past y'all time. We did. What time is it? Tone on it.
That's enough now. I gotta go to work. Come on.
Yes. So if we get big, then by nature, of course, marriage gets big. So we're going to get big, and 2018 is going to be the year that changes our life and yours.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we're constant, consistent. Every day is going to be a video. Some days it's going to be 2. But a lot of times, because we studied the content, we said we can just, pack this into one and make it a good one. Mm-hmm. Sharon is an affiliate of
Bedroom Candy. So today, if you feel like I want to get away from my spouse, why don't he just leave? Or why don't she just leave? Go to Bedroom Candy.
Sex, help you.
Sex, it doesn't fix everything, but it sure mends some things together.
It ain't a whole lot sex can't
get
fix.
Your mind off of what just happened, maybe a little bit.
Good sex. It ain't a whole lot good sex can't fix in this relationship.
Right. So check out Bedroom Candy. They have a little bit for everyone. Yeah. They have from toys. If you don't like toys, they have they got like body sprays. They even have this pheromone spray that you put on that allows your partner to be more attracted to you. So only put
dip
that
your
around
gonads in some chocolate.
Yeah, they got
and
chocolate.
Let them lick it off.
All kind of goodies on there. So you just gotta go and check it out.
So until next time, we do love you and peace out.